Let's go. Look, today we got a big focus topic, and I know that you probably seen it, intent versus impact. And I got to be honest, this is something that's near and dear to me because my brother hit me with this one years ago that changed my perspective on intent versus impact. But first of all, I just want to let you know 28 power keys to success is going to take you to the next level. Let's go. Okay, look. This is the fun behind intent versus impact. My intent could literally yield an impact that I didn't necessarily look for, right? So my brother told me, he was like, bro, I was like, this is what I'm doing, blah blah blah. This is what I want to see, and I did this, and it didn't come back the same way. He was like, well, did you ever consider how the individual or the people that you were talking to were impacted by the communication? And I was like, what you mean? He's like, you can have intentions, Isaiah, but the way you convey your message and how you conduct yourself could lead to an impact that you didn't intend to create. And I was like, hold up, man, intent versus impact. So when my intentions, and we see this in relationships all the time, right? My intentions for you could create an impact on you because it wasn't communicated effectively. And I was like, you know what? So how do we bridge? How do we bridge that? How do we fix this disparity, this gap in which my intentions are true, honest, and, to be honest, valiant? Like, I'm literally trying to see your life go to the next level. I want your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations to be met. But because of how I conducted myself or the communication or the exchanges of whatever resources, it impacted you in a way where it was negative. And I was looking for a positive outcome. How many of you been in a situation where you had some real strong intentions and they were good intentions for another person, and the impact that it made on their lives came back to you in a completely different manner, and you're like, whoa, hold up. That's not what I said. That's not the interpretation of how your conversation or your interaction and exchange changes sometimes when it hit another person, because the voice box that they hear, or like, you got an internal external ear, right? Like, so how I hear myself is completely different from whenever I listen to this recording. So when I listen to this recording, it's me. I know it's me, but it sounds a little bit different from what I hear in my internal ear. And sometimes the way individuals receive us is not based on how we hear ourselves. It's based on how they hear us. And so it creates an impact that is sometimes different from our intent. And so let's jump into this, because I'm here to unload, unpack, unlock, and unveil every attribute and ability that you possess for success. And we're going to use this 28 Power Keys to Success book to get you there. And we're talking about intentionality today. Let's jump into the definition of being intentional. All right. So intentional, and I gotta do this, and I'm gonna give you my piece of the pie, like my piece of the pie, my PII, perspective, insight, and imagination. This is intentional. Intentional is the thing that you plan to do or achieve. And let's be honest, we make a lot of plans. We want to achieve a lot of things, but the impact doesn't always come back. The outcomes are not always the same thing as the input. We like, I put this in, while I'm not getting this back, we're not seeing the results that we desire. So I'm here to help you bridge that gap. Let's read this definition one more time. I know you read it, but let's read it one more time. The thing that you plan to do or achieve. I have to be very straightforward with you today, right? I got to be straightforward with you today. The thing you plan to achieve or do is cool. Like, think about the things that you plan and the things that you want to do and the things that you want to achieve. But the highlight, and I capitalized it, is the plan. Plan, like, I had to capitalize that. Like, so intentionality or being intentional comes with a plan. Like, I'm not intentional if I don't have a plan. And the reason why the impact intent versus impact situation or scenario shows up is because I didn't have a plan. And if I did, I didn't communicate that plan effectively. See, that's why it's so important, man, to have plans for certain things, especially the things that you value. Because think about your relationship. You got to have a plan for your relationship. You got to have a plan for the things that you value. You got to put some structure on it. You got to put some order on it, and you got to communicate it effectively to where both parties can come into agreement, right? And then if both parties have come into an agreement, then we're both taking our resources, putting them together, and aiming at this objective. The issue is we may have these resources, they have these resources, they're aiming at here, I'm aiming at here. We're not on the same plane. A lot of confusion, a lot of conflict, uneasiness, and we're fighting. We're fighting. So now, as we grow and we learn new information, hey, you know what? Let's put a plan together. We understand that we communicate differently. And these are the things that I need in communication. And these are the things that you need in communication. Okay, I probably won't remember that all the time. Let me write this down. Let me put this in my notebook. Let me start assessing how I conduct myself. Let me practice on this. This is intentionality. This is me being intentional, right? This is me being intentional. And so when we talk about a plan, there's no intentionality without a plan. I'm not like, if you tell me you have a plan, if you tell me you're being intentional and you do not have a plan, like you're fooling yourself and you're trying to fool me, but you can't because I got this information. You cannot tell me that you are being intentional without a plan. So let me read this real quick because I think it's important. And this is right out the book, okay? Right out the book. Being intentional consists of a plan to get to a why. All right. So if I ask you a question, so let me read it. Let me read it before I jump the gun. So when you are asked, why do you do something, and you have no definitive answer, it's a good chance we shouldn't be doing it. I'm just saying, like, if somebody asks me a question about why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I don't have a definitive answer, like I can't tell you why. I can't give you anything to push you over to the point of agreement with me. I can't even get you to think logically about the situation. If I can't do that, that's a clear indication. That's an alert, y'all. It's a glaring alert that's telling me I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. At least I shouldn't be doing it until I get some more information. Or if I'm doing it, I need to be learning more because I'm not equipped right now. I'm not ready to move into this right now. You know what I'm saying? And so it says here, the answer that starts with because normally have a stronger attachment to most emotional involvement. Let me tell you something. Whenever somebody asks you a question and somebody tell you, I'm doing this because, they have a reason and a purpose and a why they're doing what they're doing. Now, this doesn't always mean that it's the best reason, purpose, or why, but it's happening because of something that they have understood. Now, sometimes this takes place why? Because people been hurt. This take place why? Because people seen a brighter future. This take place why? Because they looking for something to do. But when an individual gives you a because, it's naturally associated with an emotional involvement. And let me tell you, y'all, it's extremely hard to rip somebody and pry somebody away from an emotionally involved activity. All right. It's hard to do. It's really hard to do. And so, and that's where the book goes. It says pulling someone apart from the why can be strenuous and troublesome work. Like, and why would you have to pull somebody from the why? Like their why is completely destroying their lives, right? No, like sometimes we receive information and we get emotionally attached to that information, and that information could be false information, misleading information, erroneous teaching. It can be a whole lot of information that is subjected to a whole lot of nothing. Like it has no substantiated evidence. It has no qualities that lead you to your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations. It is something that is literally a hole, it's a black hole. It's sucking up your resources, sucking up your time, sucking up your abilities, your emotions, your influence, your feelings, all that stuff. That's where it's all going to, and it's not leading you anywhere that's productive. And so that's why we would try to pull somebody apart from this emotional why, right? And it's really tough to do. And I tell people this all the time, like the hardest thing to do and the easiest thing to do is make a decision. The hardest thing to do and the easiest thing to do is make a decision. And so why is it so hard to make a decision? Because one, if I make this decision, I'm committed to it. Like if I make this decision, I have ownership of it. I'm responsible and I have accountability to it. And so I have to weigh these options. Some people make decisions without weighing options and they find themselves in a very bad place. This is the problem though. I tell people this when I'm teaching personal and professional development. I said, you have to make decisions from the outcome, not the situation. Make a decision based on the outcome, the possibilities of outcomes. And then after you make that decision, you got to be okay with the results, the possible results. So even if you got a percentage or you got a probability of something happening in this capacity, hey, it might happen, but I gotta make a decision. And that's taking calculated risks, right? Sometimes we have to do that, but there's a lot of information out there and there's a lot of data out there and people have experienced a lot of things. We shouldn't be so ignorant in making our decisions nowadays. And when I say ignorant, lacking information, right? So we shouldn't be lacking so much information when we got access to information all around us. And so whenever we're having to make decisions, it's the easiest thing to do. We do it every day, right? We making decisions every day. The words we choose to speak, the people we choose to call, the food we choose to eat, the places we choose to go. And some like literally it's not that hard to make some of these decisions. But anytime we make a decision that's going to change our lives, let me be honest, it also has to go against the mind. Like, so if something is going to change my life, it also has to change my mind. They got to change my paradigm. And that's a tough task. Somebody said, I can't remember who said it. It was a quote out there. It's easier to take over the world than to change someone's mind. Like you almost, I think where people have went wrong, like they went from influence to manipulation to influence. And it's a really fine line, but individuals actually have to change their own mind. Like you can't really change anybody's mind. You can offer information. That information can help them make better decisions and things of that magnitude should they receive it, and then they can change their mind. But you actually can't change anybody's mind. They got to actually change their own mind. And that's one of the toughest things to do is change somebody's mind. And somebody said it's easier to take over the world than to change somebody's mind, because you can't do that. You actually can't change someone's mind. And so whenever we're talking about being intentional, there has to be a plan in place and it has to be connected to a why. There's got to be a reason. That's why intentionality works. And so when somebody needs to change if they want to change their mind, they got to be intentional about changing their mind. And you can't do it. The aid that you provide with helping someone change their mind is different from you actually changing somebody's mind. You offer the information, they make the decision. And so many people cross the line of manipulation and influence in that capacity because we'll give people false information so they'll make a decision in our favor. Or we can influence and we can give people information and they can make decisions in their favor. Whatever balance there is, it's out there, but we know that intentionality is necessary. Like you got to have a plan. And that plan needs to be backed up if you're intentional. There's no way you're intentional without backing up the plan, without having a plan in place. It's impossible. It's impossible. Man, I was intentional. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. And if we look at it on the most basic level, we thought about it. Right? Like you got to think about it, man. Like if I think about it, I have a plan in place. Like, how many times have you assessed the situation real fast? And normally we're able to do that based on the information we're already equipped with. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer for others because they may not have much information. But if we have certain information, we can make a decision much quickly. But if you're trying to help somebody make a decision and help them be intentional about their lives, it's very important that you offer them adequate information, valid information, strong founded information. Like it got to be something that they can actually grab onto, and logical enough for them to comprehend and utilize in their own personal lives. This helps individuals and yourself get to the next level expediently. Like this is expeditiously. You can get there, but you got to be intentional about it. See, one of the things I like about being intentional is that it says you have to have a plan, right? You have to have a plan to be intentional. And one of my favorite things about having a plan, it actually makes you pinpoint accurate, because having a plan helps you allocate your resources, right? You get to allocate your resources, and you point those resources to every objective, every goal, your aspirations, your dream, all that stuff. You get to point all your resources to. So whether it be your time, or whether it be your money, whether it be like human resources, the people that you hang out with, like the places that you go, you get to aim all of that at your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations, because you decided to put a plan in place, right? You decided to think about it. You decided to think about how it's going to impact your life. What are the possible outcomes? Like, what are the probabilities? The more information I get, the more experiences I have, the more exchanges that I make. And I'm talking about quality ones. When I do this, then I'm able to make more quality decisions. And then I have to be able to observe in a very good, like in a very strategic way. I got to be able to observe information in others to be able to make great decisions as well. This helps me be intentional. Like, so my impact, I can get the results on a residual basis of the intent from my intent. Like whatever I intend to get, I can get that impact back, right? I can see the reverberation of my intentions, like literally penetrating the community and coming back to me in the outcomes that I desire. Why? Because I decided to make decisions on the information, gathering the data. I decided to make decisions like with the plan and strategically move, right? Conducting myself in a manner where I'm impacting individuals because I was considerate about something. Like you can't be intentional and not be considerate. Like you can't be intentional and not consider situations. This is just imprudent, right? It's imprudent for you to operate like that. You're not caring for your future or the future of another individual or the future of that relationship or account or business in things in that capacity. Like you're not looking ahead. And so intentionality allows you to look ahead a little bit and say, hey, you know what? These are possible outcomes. I'm intentional about my decision. And look, some people want a negative impact. Like some people want negative outcomes, but that's not what I project here. I project a productive lifestyle. I project you unlocking every attribute and ability that you possess for success and utilizing that to propel yourself forward so you can see your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations face to face. Look, this book, 28 Power Keys to Success, has been changing lives across the world. I want you to get this book. Go to the description, click the link, purchase your book today, and I'll see y'all at the top. Let's go.